Hi everyone, it's April 16th, 2017. It's been a while since my last DBS related update. I apologize for that. The adjustment has been an interesting process, and I want to thank the people who've commented on YouTube. I will be getting in touch with you. It's just probably through electronic medium because social anxiety. So late March, I had my initial activation, and it was interesting. Has been interesting. I made the mistake of going through with the activation when I had just gotten over a migraine. So for the weekend following the activation, my migraine came back. It was a sinus headache combined with a residual scalp pain from the surgery that just blew up in my face, but it went away after the weekend. So it wasn't necessarily DBS related, but the activation didn't help. Since that time, it has definitely had an impact. I can't demonstrate it because the camera on the laptop is, I can hold my hand out and it still trembles, but it is much more steady than it has been in years. We're still working on the parts where you bring your hand towards you. That's for the next tuning session, which is April 28th. That's what we're going to be working on next session. Now, there are interesting side effects from this. When I turn the first of all, this is a device. This shows you, battery's okay, it's checked, it's good. Pressing the orange button up to the SCAR, the device, tells you if it's on or off. And then this power button turns it on or off, obviously. Science is amazing. But that's actually, I think that's considered to be an older, I'm not sure if it's an older model or not, But there are interesting side effects. For instance, I can sleep with it on. I only do that when I'm out at a live action role playing event. And that's not a problem. But the reason why I don't like to do that so much is it drains the battery. Constantly having it on drains the battery. And you kind of want to make the battery last as long as possible. Just because otherwise it'll last for only a year and a half or 2 years. And I would like to make it last longer because surgery is expensive. And having to go in every so often to have the battery replaced, I don't know how often the insurance will cover that, if it'll only go up to a certain point or what. And there's still related costs, anesthesia, for instance, that's not covered by the insurance. Things like that. Finding out my anesthesia wasn't covered while I'm on Medicaid really sucked, let me tell you. But when I turn it off, I usually have to wait 2 or 3 hours before I can get to bed. I don't know why this is. I'm assuming it's my body sensing the stimulation going away, or I feel very wound up. Which is strange because I don't feel that way when I sleep with it on. When I turn it on, and I don't know if this is the same for everyone else, feel free to comment, those of you who've had DBS surgery, whether it's Parkinson's or essential tremors. My case being essential tremors, I don't know if the fatigue is what everyone universally experiences, but there has been increased fatigue. And I'm assuming it has to do with my brain adjusting to having to deal with electrical current. I'm not 100% certain with that, but there has been such increased fatigue. Next. Stop it. She has allergies, so she's over grooming herself. But when I first turned the device on, every single morning that I turn it on, there is a 2 to 3 minute period of an initial electrical current that I can feel going from my brain down into my fingertips and sometimes into my tongue. Like today, for instance, the tip of my tongue is still kind of fuzzy. That was the first. It didn't do this when I first had it. After the activation, this wasn't a thing. Now I'm assuming my body's just adjusting to it more, and I'm noticing it more because I'm no longer recovering from surgery. That's my guess. But it also makes me a little lightheaded. It only lasts for like 2 to 3 minutes. But it takes about 10 to 15 minutes for me to catch up with it, and then it takes about a full hour to take hold. I don't know if take hold is the right word or wake up is the right word. I have a hard time waking up in general, and this has kind of impacted it. It's strange, but that has been a side effect. Also, so has not having much of an appetite, which is, that's not a bad thing because I'm overweight, but that's not the safe and responsible way to lose weight. It's great because I'm doing portion sizes for once. It's strange for me. I'm sorry, distracted. I'm dog sitting and I have another sweetie who's demanding my attention. Essential trimmers. Let me show you. Big dog. So essential tremors and this DBS journey has been interesting. The neurologists keep on saying, stuff like that, like the residual fatigue should be gone by now. At least that's what I was told at the activation session. But I found an article online that talked about the prevalence of post-DBS fatigue in people with Parkinson's. Now, I have essential tremors, and it's not the same. How it affects the body is different. But is it the same? For those of you with essential tremors, have you had DBS-related fatigue? I question that because I'm just curious. I noticed that the study was strictly for Parkinson's patients, so I wasn't really sure. But there have been things that I have been able to do. I'm having to learn how to eat again. And let me explain this. When you have essential tremors, you're used to sitting hunched over a plate or a bowl, and you're constantly having to do things to where it's close. Now, you see my hands doing this. My arm and hand doesn't do it as much when it extends out, so I can reach out to a plate now and lift it up and down without a problem, which is amazing. The food doesn't fall off the fork or spoon. But I can't, because we haven't adjusted it for this yet, bringing it to my mouth is still an issue. But I'm having to retrain myself how to eat properly, which is interesting. What? I can fill my cat's water bowls. I can fill my cat's water bowls and not spill them, which is huge. I had to get my roommate to start handling the water because I couldn't do that anymore. And so it's just simple tasks. I'm starting to try handwriting again. It's not perfect. Like, I'm trying to write in English and in Japanese, because Japanese was one of the languages I studied, and my handwriting got so horrible that I couldn't do it anymore because my hands were shaking. This is difficult to see, but for the most part, it's legible, which is a huge deal. It took me forever to do that. When you stop writing because of tremors, you may still know how, but the skill is rusty. So I'm slowly practicing a little bit at a time. I've had a dear friend from my hometown offer to send me materials, and I need to get her my mailing address, but to help me practice. And they're just the little things that you didn't ever really think about. And so, as I look forward to the next tuning session, I'm also a little nervous because I don't know if the side effects are going to continue, if they're going to be relieved. Honestly, the process of the initial morning process with the little electrical current, that's really not that big of a deal in the scheme of things. But I know part of the reason that they do these tuning sessions spaced out over a month is to give your body a chance to adjust, and for you as a person to figure out what those side effects are, because you're sometimes not going to know until your body adjusts. So, woo! I've had some people tell me it took them 6 months to recover, but they had both sides done at the same time. I just had the one side done, and I still think I don't know what recovery for me is, you know? It's different for every person, and the adjustment process is different for every person. So it's just a thing. It is what it is, and that's where I'm at, honestly. It's having an impact. It's working. It's not perfect, and it's not going to be perfect, and it's going to be a process. But already I can do things just with the first tuning session. Already I can do things I haven't been able to do in years. So it's a big deal, and I think I had forgotten how much, everyone says you're so brave and you handle it so well, but I haven't really taken the time to think about how much it has impacted me, because I've lived with it all my life, and I'm able to do things and going to be able to do things I haven't been able to do for the longest time. I've lived with essential tremors since I was 8 or 9 years old, and I'm 36. So there are things I have to reteach myself. And that's okay. But it's also fucking, pardon my language, fucking frustrating. Seriously. So that's where I'm at in the DBS scheme of things. I'm adjusting, and I will check back in with you guys after the next tuning session. See you guys later. Bye.